insert an audio file into Audacity, and I'll pick one of my favorite songs. And then, so the first thing we want to do is adjust the volume. And you'll have to highlight the entire audio track. And what I like to do is I just expand the track, that way you can see the entire file. And make sure it's highlighted. We select Effects, Amplify, and here we want to select the volume. And so basically you have to think kind of backwards. Like if the volume is max, that's 100. So if you want it less than that, which is how I do it, I usually do it at -3. I think it's at -3 right now. Yeah, barely moved. So let's, for an example, let's use -12. So the new peak amplitude will be -12. And so that decreases the volume, because -12 from 100 is going to be like 88. So it'll be like right here. This is going to be the maximum volume. So if we press play, and I turn the volume down, the recording volume, you see that it won't exceed -12, which is where we just set it at. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll put it at -3 because that's where I like it. So amplify, -3. That way at least all your audio files will be consistent. It'll have the same volume, and the MP3 player or the app, MP3 app on your phone won't have to adjust the output. They'll just all be ready. Okay, so now since we set the volume, let's go ahead and adjust the fade in. And so the fade in is basically making sure that the beginning portion of your audio file doesn't have some audio anomaly that's going to make like a clicking sound or something. So zoom in on the very beginning of the audio sound, which is right here. You can see it is like, you can see it clear when it's like that. It's right about there. And I like to clip it at about 2 notches, 2 bits from the beginning of the audio. So let's decrease this, that way we don't have to travel so far when we trim it. So let's trim it. Just use the mouse and hold the left button and drag it all the way over here, and then just press delete on your keyboard, and then let's zoom in on that. And then what I like to do is I highlight at least 2 of these bits, but let's do 3. I usually just do 2, but I'm going to do 3. That way you can see this faint audio. It's probably imperceptible, but still, let's just go ahead and do a fade in, and you'll notice how that moved. Now if you hear that fan and wondering what that is my converter fan. It converts the AC electricity from the wall socket into DC electricity, and the DC is going into a backup battery system. Okay, so that's the fade in, and let's do the fade out. And so we'll do a couple clicks, and then you see right here, you can barely see that, and I'll put it there, that way you can see it just a bit better. Now let's increase. And what I noticed, that if you trim it to like a couple clicks near this, in this case it's the fade out. So if you do like a couple of bits near the conclusion of the song, if you ever put your song on repeat and have it play over and over, which I do all the time, I pick a favorite song and I just listen to it like several times. In fact, sometimes I listen to it all day. If you trim it like right here and it loops, it maintains the same beat. So when the song concludes, it like begins on the same beat, which is kind of nice. Okay, so we highlighted that. Let's delete that, and then let's just double check. You don't necessarily need to do this all the time, but I do it just out of caution, just to make sure. And then we'll do a fade out this time, and that way you don't have like any anomalies when the song concludes, and it won't have a clicking sound because it's absent of any audio in the music file. So if you do hear any clicking sounds, it's going to be a result of your software. Okay, so let's just view the... Now keep in mind that when you perform the fade out function, it's possible to select a larger portion and then use the fade out until you achieve what you're looking for. Entire audio file. So that's good. So we did the volume, the fade in, the fade out. Now let's export this. And I use the MP3 format. I just happen to like it. If I do get a MP4, M4A, or AAC format, I usually convert it into an MP3 format. And this program's capable of converting also. But if you use these presets, you use MP3, and then you press the preset, and then Insane. These are the other, I didn't name these, but anyway, if you use Insane and then the Fast, and then the joint stereo, the audio quality will not, we'll just write over that file. It won't have any quality loss from the original file. So if the original was like a really high quality music file and you use those formats, it will not degrade the audio format from what I'm capable of detecting with this audio analyzer that I'll show you. Okay, so we have, this is the audio file that we just exported. So now what we want to do is left click on this program, and then to get one more window, we'll right click it and then left click it. This is an acoustic spectrum analyzer, and so here is the song that we just exported, and then this is another audio file, a different song, which is a really good song also. Okay, so you can see the difference in audio quality right here, and what that translates to is this is a 320. You see it maxes out at 20 kilohertz, and so this is how you determine the true bit rate of any audio file. And that one that I showed you was 320 kilobits at 20 kilohertz, or 20,000 hertz. And just to get an idea of what 20 kilohertz or 20 hertz is, we'll just use this equalizer, the piece equalizer that I demonstrated how to download once before. But see right here, this is the high frequency. This is like the treble, and it's at 20,000 hertz or 20 kilohertz, and then this is like 10 hertz. I don't think we can really hear 10 hertz, but if you have a pretty hefty amplifier, you might be able to really feel that. 20 hertz, you can hear 20 hertz. In fact, that's the human ear range, is 21 to 20,000 hertz. Really, we can't hear beyond 20,000 hertz very well unless the amplitude is like a security alarm in a store. You can hear that real super high frequency pitch. Okay, anyway, that's how that translates. So that's how they're measuring the quality of the audio file. Now I converted a CD into an audio format, into a digital audio format, and I can't hear the difference between a 1400 kilobits per second CD that was converted into a digital format and 320 kilobits per second MP3 player or MP3 file. I can't hear the difference between the 14,000 to 320. I am able to hear the difference between 192 to 256. 256 obviously sounds better, but yeah, I can hear the difference between a 192 and a 256. And I really can't hear much of a difference between a 256 and a 320. Just barely. There's just like portions of the song. If the song becomes really complex, you might be able to ever so slightly hear a difference on a high quality audio system. Anyway, or headphones. Headphones that has a frequency range of 10 hertz to 20,000 hertz. But anyway, that's an example of a high quality audio format, and I don't want to make this video all that long. However, if, say for example, you convert this one song into, we'll have to copy it real quick. So we have identical songs there, these two audio formats. So let's just put this one in here and quickly convert it into another format. We'll convert it, we'll export the audio file, and we'll make it a M4A, which is AAC. Anyway, so we'll even put it at like 500. The quality is like 500 kilobits per second, and then we'll export that. So I want to show you something real quick. So here is going to be the new file. So now we have these two files. This is the MP3 and this is M4A. So what we'll do there is let's put both of those into the Spectrum Analyzer, because I want you to see that those settings that the insane setting is definitely better. I went through like all of the different settings and just ran all these experiments and found out that the original MP3 format, or the original MP3 audio file that I downloaded legally, when I adjusted the volume and clipped the intro and outro and then exported it, if you use those file formats, it does not degrade any of the quality. So anyway, I just wanted to show you that if you use any other format, or if you use any other settings to export, it will not be as good as those settings that I showed you in the beginning. Okay, so let's just go ahead and delete all these, and now let's just add some album art on this just real quickly. So in order to add some album art, what you want to do is you want to select a picture. I mean, you can select like any picture, a PNG format, a JPEG format. I'm just going to pick this picture here, and then let's crop it. You'll want to make it a square, because that's what album art is. And then we'll just trim it and make it pretty. This dude is like, he's loving that. Okay, And then you can even do like simple adjustments with this program. If you want to make complex adjustments, you'll have to use like a photo editor. And they have some really good free software out there too. In fact, Audacity is free software. And it doesn't have any ads. We'll just save as, and then we'll save it on the desktop because we'll need to make one more edit to this file. And yeah, I've been using Audacity for a while and I haven't had any issues with it. And it's a small program. It's a small, simple program. And it's really good. Okay, so you'll want to left click, right click, edit, and then you want to resize it. I can't remember the guy's name, but the guy that made MP3 Tag recently published an article about the size of the album art. And he says that 600 pixels by 600 is good. So we'll just do 600 by 600, and then let's save as a JPEG. And this time, let's just make sure that we put it into the MP3 folder. So here's the path. So if it's not clicked onto that, you'll want to make sure that it goes to your MP3 tag folder. Now I designated that folder for MP3 tag. I went over that in one of the other videos. But anyway, we'll just save that JPEG file into there, and let's close that. And then, I'm not sure if we put a file in there yet. Let's just go ahead and put a file into the MP3 folder, and then we'll confirm it with this MP3 tag software. And then, now this is a really good song. And then, a couple of things I wanted to mention from the other videos about this part right here. I went over, you need like 5 columns, so that when you put it into your MP3 player or your app, the file matches up with your album art. So let's just go ahead and add this cover real quick, and then I like to just call it an illustration. I just keep them all consistent. It probably doesn't really matter, but who knows, it might matter. So I just keep it consistent. It's easier on the software. So let's go ahead and you have to save it. Now, you know what I noticed that kind of messes up your software, your MP3 player or your MP3 app, is when your album name is like, for example, the greatest hits, the G-R-E-A-T-E-S-T, greatest hits. Okay, talking and typing is not that easy. So the greatest hits. So say for example, this artist has this one song and we named it the greatest hits album. But what if like another artist had the same album name, the greatest hits? That's gonna mess up some software. Some software will interpret that differently, and the album art will not match the music file. I mean, you might have some other artist with the music file. Anyway, so that's one thing that I wanted to mention in a previous video. And the other thing is, if you use the artist's name as the album name, and you have several songs from this one artist, and all 3 columns are the same, that also sometimes messes up your album art. So if your album art messes up in that situation, just copy the title and just either put it in the beginning or the end of that, and just do something like that, and then save it. Well, you don't need to save, you don't need to press the save if you just change the text. You do need to save it if you do something with the album art. Okay, so I think I went over all of that, and then let me think now. think that's everything that I wanted to cover. We went over the music quality. Okay, now I will continue with the tutorial, and it'll be about how to acquire the programs that I mentioned. So if you want to keep watching that, then just keep watching. If not, that's the basics of editing your audio file. Okay, so if you're still here and you want to see where the programs are available at, the first one, Audacity, all you have to do is type in Audacity, and you want to go to their .org. It's free. They do ask for donations. What's nice about the software is it doesn't have any ads. I don't know if I mentioned that already. And it's a must-have program. And then you just want to use one of these three, whatever type of system you have. I have a Windows compatible. And then I just usually download the zip file. And then you know me, so this is the zip file or installer for the various systems. And then we'll just, like if you have a Mac operating system, of course you would select that one, Linux. This one has a how to do manual with it. I'm just going to do the zip, and I usually just download it right into the desktop, and then as soon as it downloads I close the window, and then from here I just usually I copy it and put a copy into the safe place that I mentioned before. Just for an example, let's just put it in the downloads folder, because that's usually where I tried to make this tutorial once before, but I forgot to push the screen recorder. Anyway, so let's just delete these real quick because I wanted to show you how to uncompress it. It's called unzipping, but or uncompressing. So let's uncompress it or extract it, and then we extract it right into the downloads folder. So there's the original file, and we uncompressed it, and boom, it lands right here. So now it's uncompressed. So since it's uncompressed, you just double click it, and then you would double click this application folder. Okay, so that is that. And now let's locate Spec. So we go back to the internet and then type SPEC Spectrum Analyzer. And then this is the website right here. And this is also free. And it's a really simple program, no ads, never had any issues with it. And so I usually just do the zip file. I download it in the desktop. Whoop. And so there it is. So let's just go ahead and usually I copy it and put one into this safe place. That way I just keep it for future use if I need it in the future. So we'll just uncompress it or extract it right onto the downloads folder. And then this is also a really simple program, but it's almost a must-have. So then in order to initiate it, you just do the application folder. Here's the application folder. So then let's just go ahead and close that. I'm happy with the version that I have. It does everything I need it to do. Oh yeah, MP3 tag. Let's see. So you just type in MP3 tag. And the reason I'm doing this is because through trial and error, I downloaded some software from various sites and learned the hard way that it's best to download the program from the source. And this is a really good one also. It doesn't have any ads, and it is a simple yet complex program. Simple in that it's not a large program, and complex in that it's capable of doing so much. But anyway, those are the programs that I use, and hopefully that helped achieve some of your goals, and if so, then we did a really good thing. So anyway, have a nice one.